bit of a disclosure to start off with this video. Unfortunately, the garage lighting which this was filmed in has played havoc with the refresh rate on the camera. No matter what I did with changing from NTSC to PAL, changing the frame rate, I could not get rid of the LED flickering with the video. So hopefully it's not too distracting. I apologise for that. It's not as good as this. It's what it should be, but yeah, when you're working with LED lighting, it really affects the video. Behind the scenes. Alright, so we are doing the video I promised, which is how to vacuum bag a set of wings. So you would have seen my other video, which was cutting out control surfaces on a set of wings, which I can show you now. So these are the wings which I did last time. These have been vinyl wrapped subsequently. They've come out pretty nice. So with the vinyl wrapping on them. The first thing we do is we're laying out all our cores and we're making sure all our beds are the right height. What we found with this root section was that it had cut slightly thinner, so we've had to shim it with a couple of layers of like 1.5mm foam, which I had there. So just spray adhesive that onto the bottom to shim it, so that all lines up, end up being the same height across there. Which means when we weight the cores down in the beds, everything should be the same height. And then we are going to spray adhesive using use that adhesive because it sprays nicer, but that's all they had in stock at the moment, so that's what I've used, but it's a bit of a pain in the butt. So Corey there is prepping the root ribs. The root ribs go and transfer the load from the joiner through to the skin. So we're going to make sure they're all going to be flush and nicely lined up with a section before we can then join them up. What I do is I straighten up my trailing edge because the foam cutting never gets the trailing edge perfectly. So I line it up best I can on the table. Better. There's a bit of wire sag through that bit there, unfortunately, in those cords. But that you won't notice that once we finish bagging. Left tip on there, is it? Pretty close. Pretty close? Pretty close. What we've done here is we have lined up our holes, not sure if you can see down there. So we've got a wire channel hole and the main spar joiner hole. Goes for a second transfer rib. We're going to do some filling and sanding of that at some point to make it a bit more accurate. Because that's not going right to the top of the skin, so we're going to have to fill out that some epoxy and let it dry. Yeah, I'll just glue all that up, make sure it's all lined. I'm just going to slide the beds over in place. And I'm going to weight it down. And we will fill up whatever little hollows and voids are still in here with some epoxy and some fibres. Otherwise we'll have a little indentation in there. And we don't want to use a lightweight filler because that won't structurally transfer the load from the rib. So I am using a product called Techniglue, which is a thixotropic structural adhesive. Perfect, bang on. Look at that, 20 to 1, 4 to 1. What I'm doing now is I'm using some lightweight spackle filler, even though I said not to use it before, but this is not on a structural component. So I'm just filling where the hot wire's gone to make the wire channel, with something to stop resin going through and filling it up when we vacuum bag it. So I'm just going along and filling it up. Prep work, we're now cutting out mylars. Making sure the mylar's obviously the right size to fit over the curve, the wing. Here's one. So that's, yeah, they can all be the exactly same shape because we're just flipping on whatever side we need to put on the wing.
That is a maximized material.
Yeah, I'm just thinking that now. Then just roll again. Just, I'm thinking. Oh yeah, I see. It's pretty good. If you do it on this wood, it works really well. Yeah, so it's firm, but it's not crazy pressure. Cool. Thing is
peel that piece off, stick this piece over it.
Yep, okay. Squish it in the corner and then just start feeding that on, trying to keep the edge sort of peel a bit back at a time.
Yep.
This section. Kevlar!
What do you need Kevlar for? Is that for
hinges.
hinges?
Cleaning mylars down. Yep, clean it and then we'll give them just a coat or two of release agent, even though it automatically releases quite happily by itself. It just helps. So there's a little bit more filling around this, and I'll stand that back just to help get rid of imperfections that will show through in the skin. Then we've got to go over and perforate the chords. That's what we'll go through and we'll do this to all the chords. This is a perforation tool. It's purely just a bit of MDF, whatever it is, filled with a bunch of screws. So I've got all these little pointy spots, and the idea is to create lots of indentations in the foam to help the epoxy anchor into the foam and make the skin anchor into the foam. So it's purely a matter of putting all these little, actually you can see that very well on the camera, all these little pinholes across the foam. Spray adhesive on this. That's just starting to tack up now. Let's wait for that to. I've just used. Cool. Obviously, sticky side on. Yep. So about halfway, just halfway across. Oh, yeah, so I started from this end. Sorry. Yes, so I'll lay it on. Always slowly work things out. Yeah. Adhesive actually. You can do that in there. Start pushing it on. Always work the same direction as. Actually, what we might do is just push it over. Always work the same direction as the fibers. I don't go like try and push against 90 degrees to the fibers. Push kind of like.
Kind of like that running.
Yeah. Over it. Oops. I'll stick down a bit.
So what are you doing here?
Just pushing it down into the foam a little bit.
Yeah. I see. That you kind of get so it's flush.
Yeah. Without denting the foam too much.
Yeah.
That's good enough. And do the same with this edge. What we're going to do is we're going to tape the trailing edges of the two mylars together. Inch, it's not quite long enough. Probably just as bad, isn't it? It's worse, if anything. Well, maybe not. Go with them. Right. Choose your weapon. Gloves, save her. Prep. So we have rollers. I'll bring these over. One next to the table. Right, so mix up some resin. It's much better to mix up resin in smaller amounts than it is to mix up one big batch.
Or do you have half it going off?
Because it starts exotherming. The bigger the batch of resin you have,
more heat coming off it.
the more it exotherms, because the 65 and the 326. Don't disagree.
No, I checked you, don't worry.
Just make sure there's no streaks or anything in that.
Involved. Am I going to start getting out?
Yep, pretty much, yep. Off the waxy surface. It should start, yeah, it should start like pulling together, fish eyeing. Those are lights are good, eh? Let's see what's going on. They're perfect. Good. Nice. So I do when you do the same to your side when you're ready. So we'll go from the tip. Make sure it's the right way around. And as you're rolling it, see this top surface, you can see if there's any fluff or anything on it which you can remove before it then sticks down on the mold surface.
Yep.
All the while making sure that you probably have to let me go a bit of a head.
Yeah. First.
Good stuff from there. Could you come over to this trailing edge?
Okay. Oh, so don't get it on there?
Nah.
Okay.
Because otherwise it folds over, it's just going to be like a
big kink in it, almost
big,
like a big crease.
Yeah.
Cool. How's carbon fibre made?
Do a Google, watch it.
Google it?
Yeah, it's probably the best way to do it, rather than me trying to explain it. Like this one here.
Yep.
Yeah, so this tells you pretty quickly.
Okay.
So it's just kind of pushes it through amongst the fibres.
How much pressure are you putting in with this?
Oh, as much as you're doing the rolling, pretty much. It helps get all the bubbles out too from underneath the mylars. You can kind of see like there's areas where it's not leaving any marks.
Yeah.
When you're doing it, which basically means there's not enough resin in there.
You should see the wee lines basically.
Yeah. These ones first, like. So this goes that way, yeah.
This is basically giving it a place to load across that.
Yeah.
So how do you decide on what layout to do?
Experience.
Yep.
Plus, like, I mean, like I could optimize it a lot more by calculating it out.
Yeah.
But I'm just using experience and overdoing it slightly, rather than underdoing it.
Yeah.
because you want to, you know, hit be strong and crazy.
Yeah. Oh yes.
So I'll just put this root in place.
Yeah.
Squishing this out with squishing this uni especially out with a hard roller,
Yeah.
helps flatten it out and not be such much of a bump,
Right.
and also helps pushing it, spreading out the fibres and making sure the it's like you want a wet sand cake, you squish it out.
Yeah.
To help
Mostly
get
meshing all together.
yeah, it gives a good idea of how much resin's in there too. You start feeling it. Whatever resin we have left,
Yep.
we need to wet the foam out. Make sure you get the leading edge piece, eh? Yeah. I hold the wing and just kind of push it. Leading edge, remember?
Yeah, way this way.
Heat the way?
Yeah, heat this way.
Cool. Yeah, keep going.
Wow.
Ooh, didn't quite get all the, see all the dry spots? Oh, it's just lifting off the thing as well a little bit. It's alright, so how's that leading edge looking?
Maybe fraction you back.
Yeah, I'd say. Yeah, stop. Over. Cool, that's better, yep. Agreed. How long as well? Look at the backs like that. Tape. Do both at the same time, probably. Yeah, just leave it there. Easy. Cool, right down on there. Big wings are difficult. Just drop it down. Just hold the bag, hold the bag. Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah, it needs to go underneath, sorry. You're missing something. Get that in.
Yeah.
On the root up, so it's pretty good.
Oh, deeper underneath.
I should have taken the gloves off. Right. I want to bridge the gap between the two of them.
Yep.
This feeds into the oops. You straighten out the bags over here a little bit. There you go, it's just so there's no big crease on it. Just a bit flatter. It's a big bag, can take a while to suck out. This is where like a high volume pump's actually better, like one of those industrial pumps.
Yeah.
Here it starts to go. Look at that. Stuck in. And the pressure should start coming up now. It's the analog gauge, digital gauge. There we go. cycles.
So what is everything set up? So that's vacuum pump at the back.
Fridge pump at the back there.
Yep.
I've got a resin trap there, so if any resin ends up coming back through the line,
It'll catch
through here,
in the vacuum.
it catches it in a in gravity pot
Like
here.
A little sump almost.
A little sump here,
Yeah.
then it comes back through, and that's a reserve. That's basically a big capacitor.
Right.
So that's having like a big buffer.
Yeah.
So it's always got pressure in it,
Right.
vacuum in it.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's just direct.
To
Is that the beds? This is sitting perfectly on the wood. So we have the ends there, don't we?
Yeah.
Ooh, now.
Good
No,
now.
that yeah, cool. The beds that it's sitting. This is the important bit. So it actually sitting. So start with. Push that along, yeah. Keep going, keep going, keep going. You need to go further because of the roots. Yeah, cool. Yeah, that's good. Gonna add the 2 ribs. It's 20mm short your end.
Yeah.
Now set the in line with leading edge. The beds is your end. In line with leading edge. Line that one up. Most important at the root here. Line that one up. Oh yeah. Heavy. Yeah. Leading edge, yep. Ooh, done that again. Let's just come this way. Fucking roasting in front of that heater.